Well, interesting things. I haven't made a video like this in a while due to the fact I've been so busy. Oh, what's all this about? I was sitting here thinking early this morning, everything I seem to put my hand to lately costs me a lot of money. And I really think sometimes I'm a very poor steward of the money that I have allotted by God to continue to go forward. Yes, yesterday morning I woke up around 12 midnight or so and spent a wee bit of time in the Bible. And then I got thinking about, the mark on Bella's gas tank when it fell over. I got a mark on the tank, and the tank was flawless when I got it. So a couple days ago, I went down with some black paint and I tried to fix the black. And the paint that I used it really sucked. It was lousy stuff. It took 2 days for it even to get hard enough to be able to work with, or I thought. So I started with 1,000 grit sandpaper trying to level it off, and then I figured maybe we could just buff it and get it clear and nice again. Well, that effort turned out to make it worse. So when I saw it in the daylight, I looked at it, and lo and behold, instead of it being a small, almost insignificant mark, now it became a real F up. And I thought I could buff it out, and it didn't buff out. I really do try in life to go forward and to do good. And what am I talking about? Well, have you ever tried so hard to be you that you screw everything up? And then you feel so lousy, you don't know what to do with yourself. And a little word came to me this morning in my despair when I went down to get coffee in the kitchen and to get food for the little animals. So I like to feed the animals, as you know. I'm not a Hindu. I don't worship the creation. I worship the Creator. And this thought came to me. Does a squirrel try to be a squirrel? Does a star try to be a star? Does a tree try to be a tree? Does the ocean try to be the ocean? Why do I try so hard to be me when I don't know what the end goal is? Do you ever notice when you're lost, when you're driving your car, you tend to go faster? You're going faster not knowing where you're going. So if you feel futile in life at times, I just got in from sitting out in the pitch dark, looking up at the stars, what I could see of them through the little bit of haze there is in the sky. And I just poured out my heart to God between Him and I. And very encouraging were the thoughts that came to my mind. God has made me the way I am. Of course, I've been shaped by the things that come into my life, circumstances and things. But if we truly understand that all things work together for good to those who love the Lord and are the called according to his purpose, I finally could get a deep breath and just be. I want to do well. I want to be found a good steward. Yesterday, it came to me, I'm going to have to take Bella to a body shop. I'm going to have to, now listen, I've got parts ordered. The brakes, the brake rotors, they're shot. The pads are shot. I metal on metal. In 3,000 miles. The most, the bike's got 7,000 miles on it, apparently from scratch. This is ludicrous. I'm not riding the brakes. Everything seems to be going to hell in a handbasket. It's out of my control. How much were the brake parts? The parts alone were $914. I've got a Springer coming for Bella that I may have to pay another $5,000, not counting the cost to get it mounted. This situation appears to be spiraling into a money pit unlike anything I've ever seen. And all these things are adversaries that come to steal away the joy of owning Bella. And it is such a free and wonderful feeling to be able to get on a motorcycle and ride. Only a motorcyclist would understand what I'm saying. Because I've got a Mini Cooper. I could go get in the Mini Cooper and drive it. I love the Mini Cooper. It's like a little go-kart with an excellent sound system. It's wonderful. It's not comfortable for long distances, but it's wonderful. And it's a the whole deal. It's wonderful. I was thrilled to get it. I'm still glad I have it. I would rather have a 2006 than a 2026. My Honda Pilot I bought for $5,000. The same price as the Springer on the front end of Bella. I mean, money. It's hard to grasp what it's worth and what it isn't worth. So back to trying to be me. If I would just, pardon me, realize now that I am what I am because God fashioned me as I am. The harder I try to be me, the more I tend to screw it up. Now, back to the body shop. Did I go to God? I say this, did I go to God to ask about the body shop? No, I asked Surrey. And Surrey told me to go. There was a place in Skaneateles. Well, I went there. And it ended 8 years ago. It ain't there anymore. But I did meet a fellow who told me about Doug. A fellow that is 6-7 miles from my house. What a beautiful, I am meeting wonderful, wonderful people. And it's these problems that are driving me to meet people that I'm glad to meet. If I didn't have the problems, I've gone by that body shop for 30, 40, 50 years and never stopped in to see who was there. And he started this when he was 8 years old, working on motorcycles and painting. And so the problem that I have with Bella's paint, when I used 1,000 grit sandpaper, wet sandpaper at that, he can fix it. He said, Georgie, it'll be a 2-day operation. This is not a problem. He said, you didn't just screw up the black, but you've got the tan and the silver screwed up in a spot that big. that was only this big. It wouldn't have been that big if Bella hadn't have fallen over. Where's the room to despair? It's these things that are driving me forward in directions I wouldn't plan for my own life. He said, Georgie, bring me that gas tank drained as you can get it. Naturally, I had just filled it up. It's at 6 gallons right now. What the fuck? All right. How much is it going to cost to get Bella's gas tank fixed? $600. Remember, I just tried to get my little computer fixed, and that was a total screw up. I ended up $170 down the drain to get nothing, except the experience of realizing that I had more care for the project than I did for the man who was supposed to do the job, because I cussed him out. And then I've noticed that I've had less favor and grace that I could perceive in the last month or so, because what I was trying to do is not lose the closeness that I had with God in the springtime. But I realized that, like Samson, the anointing had waned, and I was trying to shake myself to have the same experience that God gave me through the end of winter, early spring. I could not stay on that wave. I've never been able to stay on that wave. The more I try to stay on a wave, and I say it like this, like a surfer who's surfing a wave, they last only so long and they wane, and you have to go back and swim to go to get the next one. I don't know why the propensity in my life is to go forward on a wave that doesn't stop. Well, maybe because while you're on the wave, you're just maneuvering the wave. You're not having to paddle to get to the next one. There's an ebb and flow to life I'm beginning to see. And I'm not trying to browbeat you or not even browbeat me. I'm trying to sit down and understand this thing called life. Because quite frankly, when I went downstairs to get the coffee, I got on my knees and I said, I confessed, I'm a shit steward of money. I suck. It goes through my fingers like shit through a hose. God told me good things when I was on my knees. It's these things that drive me to my knees, that drive me back to God. I don't mean to walk away from Him. I get so absorbed in my own things that I completely wander off. Or at least I think I wander off, because I don't feel His presence like I did when He was standing next to me. But if maybe I'd shut my mouth, I could hear Him speak. I know this seems like a rambling crock of shit, and it's not easy for me to stay with it either. Why do I even think of making a video like this? Well, remember the last one I put up of my friend Benny Josh, and how he had hung himself in prison because he was so horribly, absolutely at the end of his rope. Well, literally, by the grace of God, he didn't stay dead. By the grace of God, the Lord, they were able to get to him and get him revived in time. But to champion such a sickening thing as for a man to find himself in an insane ward and then allow that experience to happen to him and then just chuckle about it, making the best of it. Well, how do I have videos about God on my channel and then I put this thing, which is part of life, and it is a humorous thing in a way, but you should see my analytics take a nosedive. No direction. I don't have any direction in the channel anymore. I don't know where it's going. How does it talk about God and then such a disgusting thing as a man having an experience like he did, and then champion that experience like Bill Clinton did? The young lady with the blue dress. The whole world cheered Bill Clinton when he was unfaithful to Hillary. And I'm going to leave that alone because I don't think anything of her whatsoever. Nothing good. But how do I even have that opinion of a person I've never talked to a day in my life? We're shaped by the things that come into us, and we're defiled by the things that come out of our mouth. Do you sometimes wonder about life like I am? Do you sometimes try to be you? The harder you try, the worse it gets, or at least for me it does. There's no peace in that striving. And how do you enjoy the life that's fleeting when you're trying to race to get to the end of it? Whether you believe it or not, whether you know it or not. Why do we strive to get to the end when you'll never enjoy the journey? I found the reason that I'm making this video tonight is because I did find peace, not in being a lazy bastard that doesn't care about squandering money, but by understanding that God knows my whole life, cradle to grave. And these experiences that I think are horrible because I appear to myself to be a slipshod steward. And that grieves me because I want to be somebody good. And that unattainable goal drives me to my knees because I'm such a screw up. I hope this helps somebody, because you'll find you may not be as big a screw up if you'll come to God and just talk to Him. I've seen other videos in the last couple of weeks that say that some mystic bullshit is what says that God can be known and that He enjoys His interaction with you personally when He is so immensely to be revered that you should be scared shitless to even think of talking about Him. How do you be scared shitless of someone that you love and that you know loves you? How do you be scared shitless of somebody who made you from the beginning and doesn't want you to be afraid of Him? He wants you to revere Him. But when it says the fear of God, I have to say to myself, yes, we should have a healthy fear. Like Jesus said, don't fear man that can only kill you once. Fear God that can kill you and throw you into hell forever. So we should have, it's like a guy trying to light a cigarette in the middle of a gas refinery. Don't laugh. When I was at Saunders years ago, we had a safety meeting where this guy came in. He looked like the creature of the Black Lagoon. Yeah, that's going to open up a whole nother story. But that guy came to know God, and well, he worked at a gas refinery. I don't remember the brand name of the company, but it was huge. It was many, many acres of this place, all refining gas. He had done it for years. And he always followed the protocols. But he was about to go on vacation, and he was thinking about the vacation, and he was thinking about getting in the car and finally putting some space between him and his job. Somehow along the way, a valve or something should have been turned that wasn't turned, or vice versa, and a catastrophic explosion happened, and he was covered with fuel and burnt to the point of horrible. And he lived. And after the pain that he endured for months was so catastrophic. And he told us what it's like to be a burn victim like that, where they have to soak you in this vat of, I forget what it was, but the pain was off the charts, day after day after day, while the flesh fell off. And oh my God, that poor bastard. And then when his family came to see him, he was so hideous. His wife divorced him, and he still lived. Oh my God. His story, and to see, well, they grafted skin from here and there and this and that. They patched him up best they could on the outside. But what could patch up a man's spirit and soul on the inside? He lost his family. I don't know what to say after that. I don't know where to go with this video after that. So I don't want to end it on a bad note. God, how depressing. But that man is living that life. I don't remember if something good, I would like to say something good happened to the guy after that. I would like to say that his family took him back. I don't know if they did. I hope there's a golden blessing in this entire horrible experience. But why did they bring that guy to show us? Because it was a safety course. We needed to understand there were some very severe penalties for not obeying the laws, not obeying the safety instructions. To always make sure that when you were in the back of that mixer, chiseling out the concrete with a jackhammer, and a certain smattering of safety precautions taking place, if at any time a mechanic came down to get that truck and they didn't know that you were in the back and they started that thing, you would be ripped to shreds. Even though it doesn't go fast, those fins, the blades inside that huge mixer, which is strong enough to move the concrete forward and backward, become so sharp. And if that concrete falls from the top, weighing hundreds and hundreds of pounds, and lands on you, it'll cut an arm right off. You're dead. You're dead nasty. And if by any chance they loaded the truck with you in there, you can't imagine what a shit death that would be. So I got the idea, because it was something we had to do. We had to get up on the chute. We had to go in feet first, and with lights, and you could be electrocuted too. It was part of the job. It's part of why I have a pension today. It's part of my thanks that I did this while I was young enough to do it. I dreamed about it last night. I could feel the stick shift of the Mac in my hand as I was shifting gears. So I came up with the idea. Well, instead of trying to, and we would always have to do it in the summertime when it was hotter than a son of a bitch, and you're covered with sweat, and you get sweat stinging your eyes, and you can't see worth a shit once you start jackhammering. You got your hearing protection and a COVID mask, goggles, and you're trying to do it as smart as possible, and God forbid you jackhammer straight through the friggin' drum and cause a hole. Now you get your ass reamed because the mechanics have to patch the hole. So I came up with this idea, I'd bring it into the barn, and I would take a couple of mud flaps and I would put them on top of the drum, and I'd climb up and climb onto the drum with a sledgehammer. And just like you can find a stud in the wall by going boop, boop, bink, boop, boop, bink, you could tell with the sound bink that that's where the concrete's stuck. So I would move the concrete to the top of the drum, and then I would strike the drum with the mud flap so I didn't dent or screw up the finish. And you hear boom, boom, as that big piece of concrete would fall down onto the inside of the drum. And then I would rotate the drum to find the next spot. So literally, what would take one of the other drivers 4 or 5 days of milking this job, I could be done in half an hour to 45 minutes. Because I would go back down when all the stuff is in a big pile inside I would use the jackhammer to make it small enough to come out the back and then down the chutes, and we're done. I got my ass reamed for doing that because it did put dents in the drum, no matter how hard you tried to not do it. I got my ass reamed for taking what would have been a 4 to 5 day job and be done in 45 minutes. And I don't even have to be in there breathing that shit all that time. I didn't have to worry about it falling on me because it was already in a pile. Oh well, sometimes I was able to do well and still catch hell. Other times, the harder I try, the more I fuck things up. Moral of the story, don't try so hard to be you. You already are you. Don't try so hard to get to the end of your life. Enjoy the journey. There'll come a day where if we live long enough, we'll get there. Don't rush it. Don't try to encourage it. Don't fear it. Live. If I hadn't have bought the motorcycle, I would never have met Daniel, who has become a friend. He's a wonderful guy, who's an excellent mechanic. 37 miles as the crow flies from my house. If I hadn't have fucked up the finish on my gas tank by being a dick, trying to fix it myself, I wouldn't have met Douglas, who now is going to be a friend. And he lives just 7 miles away. If I hadn't asked Suri, I wouldn't have known to meet the guy who told me that in Marietta there was a wonderful place that would fix my gas tank. So it's like back when I had to, you shit me? I had all these machines in this shop, and I only had a short amount of time or I was going to lose everything. And God brought people named William to pay the bills. He brought the bills to pay the bills. and I was able to stay here. It's the battles in life. Yes, you do have to fight the battles, and you do want to win them, but you got to win them legitimately. And when you come to the end of yourself, it's not wrong to get on your knees and cry out to God, because it's those things that drive you to Him. When everything's going good, we tend to run on our own. It's not that we don't love God. We get so absorbed like a child playing on the floor, just knowing his mother's in the other room, talking on the phone. He's having a ball. But you take the mother out of the house, the child can't play anymore, because now he's scared. Now there's no comfort. Good news. God's been at this a while. He's created the very first person, and He knows the very last one. There's nothing going to surprise Him about your behavior. So the quicker you straighten out and just be you. Don't try to be somebody else. Don't envy anybody else. They wouldn't make a decent you for all the tea in China. And you wouldn't make a decent them. Just be you. And when things in life drive you to your knees, go to God. Because like that wonderful father that was looking for his son to just come to his senses, he wasn't there with a stick waiting to beat the living dog shit out of the kid. His heart grieved for the son that he was estranged from. In life, I've never found a deeper sorrow than estrangement. Like when my mother died or one thing or another, I've never known such a hideous pain as the emotional pain of estrangement. Boy, what a round robin this friggin' experience of talking on the video tonight is. But the joy of that pain, when you find it's a doorway that brings you closer to God, and God brings the joy in your life and assures you that even these fucked up things that are going on in your life work together for good if you don't quit. Well, no. When you do quit, when you do come to the end of yourself, when you do say, I am totally effed up, this entire thing is a foobar. The harder I try, the worse it gets. What the fuck? Some tiny little flying creature. So I'm leaning back in life, realizing that there is a captain of my life, and it's Jesus Christ. And He's not pitifully sorrowful. He's not looking at me going, what a total fuck up this guy is. Oh my God, why did I go to the cross for this complete and total knucklehead? No. He's looking beyond to the thousands of years where I won't be a fuck up. And He's happy to help me in my journey if I'll just put my hand in His and say, I missed you, Lord. Somehow I got off track. The harder I tried, the worse it got. I know that's not good English, but it is truth. So I got to slow down, pick up the Bible more. I've been binging on this YouTube shit. I've been watching shorts of this and that and the other thing, and that ain't feeding my spiritual self. I'm looking at all this crap, which is somehow interesting. And here I'm making a video on the very same platform. What the fuck? We're like a dog chasing our own tail. So before I thoroughly F this up worse by trying too hard, I'm going to quit now. But I'm going to tell you that Bella Springer is again 3 weeks off into the distance. Thank God, because I got to come up with the money for this fucking thing. And try not to go broke on this whole operation. And Jesus could be back at any minute. So when I was sitting out in the yard looking at the stars going, you know, he could be back right now. And all this unfinished business will, fuck it, we're done. It's as finished as it's going to get. Because thank God that part of my life I took care of a long time ago. And don't you ever let somebody tell you can lose your salvation. That's a total crock of shit. There's absolutely no way you can lose your salvation if you're really saved. Because you're never turning loose of God, even if you run off on your own and fucking get lost in your own bullshit. He ain't letting go of you. It's a covenant. He ain't breaking this marriage. And I've had people tell me I've got to suffer at least 3.5 to 7 years of the tribulation. That's bullshit. Don't listen to that crap. That's not true. It's not true. It's ridiculous. How are we going to be 7 years at the marriage supper of the Lamb and here on earth? No. So just cheer up. If you're having a tough time, cheer up. Realize God's got this. God's got this. I repented to the Lord tonight that I fainted over the 4 years praying for Donald Trump to return, and now it's a reality. It's as real as when the prophet said he'll be back. Not all the prophets remained the same. Some said, well, we just guess we missed it. Well, those are the false prophets. But the ones that hung on and never let go, he's here. It's the most bizarre shit I've ever seen. And now Obama's finally going to get the fucking comeuppance that son of a bitch has had to. By the looks of things. Anything could fucking happen at this point. Anything could happen. This is the most bizarre life. Really, we need to... Where the fuck's the popcorn? Get me in my chair. I want to watch this shit unfold. This is fucking bizarre. It's amazing. Men can't play in women's sports anymore and beat the living dog shit out of them and get an attaboy for it. This is fucking amazing. And yet, I get so entwined in my own daily life. I look at these news clippings and I don't know what the fuck to make of them. Wow, it's a bizarre experience. All right, I hope you got something out of it. At least you know that this quagmire of bullshit that I'm causing myself some financial fucking horrendous bullshit. But somehow God will get me through, and I hate to say it like this because there's everything in me that wants to be fucking, on top of the ball. And now I look like a fucking monkey fucking a football. It's just bizarre. I guess I have to learn to become humble. Wait a minute. I'm Humble George. Well, you're getting a lesson in it. Come on. As Frankie would say,
Humble! Get your fucking head out of your ass. God bless you guys. Bye-bye.